What would you do if you find your wife with another man? Shatter in tears? Walk away in shame? Or confront them? Not Ted, for a mind like his. Simple pain deserved a complex answer, a revenge so brilliant, even the law itself couldn't keep up. Meet Theodore Crawford, Ted, a ridiculously wealthy engineer. Big house, fast cars, a life polished to perfection. But there's one fatal crack in his glass castle: his wife, Jennifer, Jen. While Ted designs machines with precision, Jen is busy redesigning her love life with another man, Rob Nunnally. They splash around in pools of desire, blind to the fact that Ted watches like a hawk. But Ted doesn't storm in with rage. No, he's colder than that. He goes home, waiting. When Jen walks in, she's startled to see him home early. He says he came home because he missed her. Cute, right? Except he follows it up with questions about whether she ever misses him. She's tired, not in the mood for games. Then Ted drops his cruel little play. "I love you," he says. Jen replies as flat, "I know." He smirks, calling her Mrs. Smith, the alias she used in her escapades with Rob. In that moment, she realizes he's always known. And here's Ted's philosophy. Knowledge is pain, but pain offers small pleasures, like the one he's about to take. He shoots her in the face, in broad daylight, with house staff around to hear. It's not just murder, it's a performance. He tidies up calmly, as though loading the dishwasher. And somehow, this feels like just the opening move in a much bigger game. The police arrive, and fate twists the knife. Guess who's leading the response? Rob Nunnally. Yes, the same man Jen was swimming lessons with. Rob thinks he's here for hostage negotiations. Instead, Ted opens the door, relaxed, and asks only Rob to enter. What follows is a tense standoff about who should disarm first. Ted drops his first, then casually admits, "I shot my wife." No hesitation, no remorse, just ice. Rob looks around, and the horror sets in. This is Jen's house, his mistress's house. He rushes to her, while Ted peppers him with cold, incendiary comments that make Rob lose both his temper and his professionalism. He attacks Ted senseless, looking more like a jealous husband than a cop. But here's the kicker: Jen isn't dead, not yet. She clings to life. Ted is cuffed and hauled away. But you can't shake the feeling that, in this scene, it wasn't Ted who looked guilty. It was Rob. Now meet Willie Beecham, rising star of the DA's office. Brilliant, cocky, ambitious. He's already got one foot out the door, about to ditch public service for a cushy private firm, Wooten Sims. His boss, Librito, still thinks he can change his mind and get him to stay. But Willie's eyes are on money and prestige. Before he leaves, he's handed one last case. A throwaway homicide. They say, open and shut. There's a confession, witnesses, evidence. Easy win for a guy with 97% conviction rate. Willie takes it reluctantly, eager to wrap it up before jumping to the big leagues. But Ted throws a wrench into his plans. He waives his right to counsel. He'll represent himself. The judge urges him to reconsider. Willie suggests a plea deal. Ted refuses both. He demands a trial, and specifically wants Willie to prosecute him before he moves firms. A trap, if there ever was one. After all, when a blind man insists on fighting, maybe he's standing on a stone. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Rob approaches Willie, begging him to take the case seriously. Willie waves him off. It's already over, right? The suspect already confessed, or so he thinks. That night, at a glamorous gala, Willie charms Nikki Gardner. What he doesn't know is that she isn't just another beautiful guest. She's about to be his new boss. The police thought they had their smoking gun, literally, except the so-called attempted murder weapon has never been fired. It's brand new, bought in the last month. Willie, who thought this case was open and shut, now has to order the police to find the real gun. But here's the kicker: Ted never left his house after the shooting. If the gun isn't in the house, where could it be? The next morning, Willie joins the search. They find the box. Yes, but it's missing 4 bullets. Witnesses heard 4 shots. Yet no gun, no gunpowder on Ted's hands, no blood on his clothes, no prints on the shell casings. This simple case is now a puzzle, and Ted is smiling somewhere in his cell, knowing exactly what he's done. Willie visits him in prison, hoping to rattle him or maybe cut through the arrogance. Instead, Ted rattles him. First, he casually asks about Jen lying in a coma, as if she's nothing more than a broken appliance. Then, shockingly, he brings up Willie's new job. He knows about the private firm, the offer, even Willie's background, every grade in law school, every case, every conviction. Willie's stunned. Why is he researching him? Ted smirks. You're investigating me, so it's only fair I return the favor. Willie fires back. You shot your wife. Ted, smooth as oil. Allegedly, he reminds Willie about legal truth. In court, without evidence, truth doesn't matter. Legally, what can't be proven doesn't exist. Then comes the most audacious offer. Ted asks Willie to be his lawyer. He'll pay him good money, save his career, and help him avoid the embarrassment that's about to rain down on him. Willie scoffs. Too proud, too ambitious, maybe too naive. Ted leaves him with one chilling warning. Everything has a weakness. Yours is that you always have to win. A killer diagnosing your character flaw in a single breath? That's scarier than the bullet. Trial begins. Ted represents himself, and for a while, it looks like he isn't even trying. No objections, no cross-examinations, he's doodling inventions instead, tearing paper just to annoy the judge. Everyone thinks he's lost his mind. Then comes the twist. Lieutenant Rob takes the stand, the cheating lover cop who investigated the case. Ted finally looks up from his sketches and drops the bomb. Rob was having an affair with his wife. The courtroom gasps. The detective leading the case was compromised from the start. Suddenly, everything smells rotten. Rob, humiliated and enraged, attacks Ted right there in front of the jury. And now Willie's in real trouble. The confession at the crime scene? Thrown out. The confession at the station? Also quashed. Thanks to Rob's violent temper. The judge gives Willie a brutal ultimatum. Produce real evidence in a few days, or Ted walks free. And for the first time, Willie realizes what we already suspected. Ted Crawford isn't just on trial, he's conducting the whole trial like a maestro. Willie gets chewed out by Labruto, who accuses him of losing focus ever since he decided to jump ship for a corporate job. If he had been sharp, he would have noticed Rob's messy affair and Ted's carefully laid traps from day one. Instead, his sloppiness has dragged the DA's office through the mud. Later, at a party, Nikki consoles him by reminding him that being taken off the case is a blessing in disguise. His reputation is in tatters, and her intervention is the only reason his new firm hasn't already thrown him out. But Willie can't let go. The case has sunk its claws into him, and worse, Ted has gotten under his skin. That night, Willie spends the night with Nikki, his new boss turned lover. He comes home to find a gift waiting, a broken eggshell. Ted's metaphor for weakness, now taunting him in real life. Furious, he storms back to Labruto and begs for the case. Labruto warns him, if he stays and loses, he'll not only lose the cushy corporate gig, but also his DA job. Willie, stubborn and fueled by pride, takes the gamble. He's officially playing Ted's game. Willie throws himself back into the hunt for evidence, mainly the elusive gun. He even drags a miserable Rob out of hiding, but the man is useless. With his marriage gone and the press circling like vultures, Rob has nothing to offer. Willie retraces Rob and Jennifer's secret rendezvous spots, stalks their old hotel rooms, demands footages, and all the while, Ted phones in like some smug puppet master, taunting him with cryptic remarks. Still, no gun. At the hospital, Willie tries Ted's advice, reading familiar books to Jennifer. Her body reacts. Her eyes twitch, but the doctor crushes any hope. Even if she wakes, memory loss might keep the truth buried forever. Thanksgiving rolls around, and Willie reluctantly joins Nikki's family dinner. Her family wastes no time in poking at his career choices. Why leave justice for corporate cash? Why botch your big case so badly? Nicky jumps in to save face, assuring them he's no longer on it. But Willie drops the bomb. He is still on it. Nicky's fury flares. She staked her reputation to say otherwise to her bosses. Her father, Judge Gardiner, however, beams with pride at Willie's principled choice. Finally, a vote of confidence. Back home, Willie finds Rob waiting. Broken and desperate, Rob offers to fabricate a gun with help from a buddy in the evidence room. Willie refuses to take the bait, but temptation lingers. Soon after, Nicky calls to patch things up. At the same time, the hotel delivers security footage he requested. Ted was indeed there, the same time as Jennifer and Rob. But Ted, clever as a fox, obscured his identity with a hat and sunglasses. Even if they can ID him, it still doesn't prove he pulled the trigger. Frustrated, Willie lashes out at Detective Flores for missing Rob's affair and failing to find the weapon. Flores insists he was duped too. Just then, Rob calls again. The gun is ready. When the detective, the mistress, and your key witness are all compromised, you know you're starring in a courtroom circus. And Ted? He's enjoying front row seats. Desperate, Willie devises his own courtroom trick. He recruits his loyal secretary, Jennifer, and instructs her to sit outside the courtroom. If he calls for her, she should come over and whisper that they have found the gun. Willie is leaning into what Ted called his greatest weakness, his obsession with winning. If he can't beat Ted with evidence, maybe he can outmaneuver him with gamesmanship. The courtroom's packed for the next hearing, and Secretary Jen sits in position, ready to play her whispered cameo if Willie calls her. But as Ted smugly pushes for acquittal, arguing that Willie has no evidence and never will, our ambitious prosecutor freezes. Does he pull the trick card? Or admit defeat? Willie, surprisingly, chooses honesty. He tells the judge he has no new evidence. Gasps ripple across the room. The jury is dismissed, and Ted is officially free. Ted walks out smirking, tossing one last verbal dagger at both Willie and Rob. Outside, the despair hits harder. Rob pulls out a gun and takes his own life. A tragic end for the man who lost his family, his career, and now his honor. While the villain strolls away, Ted, unbothered, celebrates his freedom alone at home, tinkering with his inventions like nothing happened. Meanwhile, guilt gnaws at Willie, dragging him to Jennifer's hospital bedside. There, in one of the most chilling moments, Ted shows up too, calm, calculated, and creepily philosophical. He drops an engineering metaphor, suggesting that Willie's future now depends on him. Willie instantly senses the threat. Ted plans to end Jennifer's life. Desperate, he runs to Nicky for help securing a restraining order, but Nicky, burned by his obsession, won't risk her job again. He turns to Labruto, only to find out Ted already filed a restraining order against him, barring him from Jennifer. Once again, Ted is 2 steps ahead. With no options left, Willie begs Judge Gardiner to intervene. But while paperwork crawls, Ted fast-tracks his plan. At the hospital, he signs documents to pull the plug. Willie bursts in with the judge's order, but security drags him out. Powerless, he watches as Jennifer's ventilator flatlines. Ted watches too, emotionless, satisfied. Days later, Willie is packing up to move, haunted by failure. Labruto visits, offering sympathy and a lifeline. But the truth hangs heavy. Willie can't get past the fact that he let a guilty man walk. Still, something won't let him rest. Back at the station, a call from Ted sparks his suspicion. The smug engineer is preparing to take a vacation, the one he had planned with Jennifer. But it's a slip, a puzzle piece falling into place. When Detective Flores absent-mindedly picks up Willie's phone, same model as his, Willie notices something, the model of Rob's gun. Suddenly, everything clicks. He rushes to Ted's home, where the manipulator, still arrogant, lets him in. Willie confronts him. Ted swapped his own gun with Rob's at the hotel. Later, during the chaos at the crime scene, he swapped them again, ensuring Rob walked out with the murder weapon. Rob, unknowingly, carried the evidence all along. He even used it on himself. With chilling pride, Ted admits it. He describes in grotesque detail how he shot Jen, how he savored Rob's despair, and how he took them both out with one bullet. But Willie has one last card. He reminds Ted of his single, fatal mistake. The trial acquitted him of attempted murder. By pulling the plug, he legally killed Jen, upgrading the crime to homicide. A brand new charge, a brand new trial. For the first time, Ted's face falters. Cornered, his smugness evaporates. He orders Willie to leave, suddenly unwilling to play the game anymore. But it's too late. He's arrested. This time he hired an actual lawyer, but his brilliance has finally boxed him in. The engineer who prided himself on finding weakness overlooked his own arrogance. This time, there's no escape. Ted's going to prison for a long, long time. To Ted, taking revenge on his cheating wife was never the real game. Outsmarting everyone else was. He designed the perfect crime, only to trip over his own ego. His downfall proved one thing: being too clever can make you blind. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this.